without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Tobin and Dennis Charles.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. So glad you could make our webinar today. Our webinar really is it's entitled, What If Engagement Was Our Legacy? And engagement is something that really can pay off. If you're a small business owner, we have something for you. So this is going to be a great webinar if you own a small business. It's also going to be a great webinar if you're looking to grow your BNI chapter. And there's some commonalities that thread in regards to the world of engagement. And so our goal, Dennis and our goal is to share that with you. We've got a couple QR codes up here. Love to connect with you. This will take you right to Dennis's LinkedIn profile, and it'll take you right to my LinkedIn profile. We've got a couple QR codes through this. We've got some resources we'd love to send you if you're interested. And so keep your phone available, and all you have to do is take your phone out and take a shot of it with these phones, and it'll go right to that. We'd love to connect with you that way, wherever you're at. So I'm pretty much an open LinkedIn connector, and I would love to connect with you, and so would Dennis. My name's Mike Tobin. I'm the founder of a company called True Strengths Council. What I do is I put together peer-to-peer advisory groups for small business owners. What we specialize in is we work with companies generally under 25 employees, and anywhere from 2 to 3 employees up towards that. And we put them together once a month so they can help each other with business problems. People come to us for things like cost of goods sold has gone up. How do we fix our pricing? Obviously employee stuff, which we're going to talk about today, and other types of small business engagement issues. So Dennis, would you like to introduce yourself briefly before we continue on?
Yeah, my name's Dennis Charles. I'm a business strategist, have been so for many years. I work out in one of the core regions, Massachusetts, with Rosalind Gonzalez on her team, and support some chapters in the Boston area. Formerly used to support chapters under Steve Sanuzzo back in the day.
Way back.
Yeah, when we were franchise owned by a woman who started our franchise, Patty Salgucci. So yeah, I work alongside Mike with True Strengths Council, and we're really going to dig deep into engagement today.
Awesome. So I hope you got a chance to connect with us. We'll give you another chance if you didn't quite get that slide. So if we were doing an open discussion, a lot of times when we have a group of business owners, I might ask people, why engagement is important. Our goal today is to share with you why it actually affects your bottom line, and as a chapter and as a business. This is a really fantastic book, by the way, from Gallup. It's called It's the Manager. What Gallup found was mid-level managers, not necessarily the CEO or the founder, but the mid-level managers of organizations had the biggest impact on employee engagement. Okay, so this came out before COVID. All right, you've seen things called the Great Resignations and all kinds of other things. This has been brewing for a while. Okay, people are looking for purpose, they're looking for development, they're looking to be a coach. This is an interesting one to me, Dennis. Dennis, you'll find this interesting as well. People are not looking for a boss, or looking for a coach. If you've studied any kind of coaching, there's a craft to coaching, because coaching is more about the question than it is about the answer. Okay, or about the suggestion. So that's a craft. And people that are coming on board are looking for that. Ongoing conversations, being able to do what I do best, and my life versus my job and reviews. And there's a big difference between satisfaction and actual engagement. Okay, so as I take a look at this, what is engagement? Is it member satisfaction? People get confused on that. Engaged members is, in our chapter, way more powerful, and in our small business, than like just satisfied people. So engaged ones, they work with passion. They're at high levels. They're driving innovation. Think about the person in your group that really is just that go dynamic. By the way, if you're on this webinar, it's probably you. Okay, it's probably you. These are people that are really just excited about what they do. Satisfied members may or may not be productive. They put time in, but not necessarily energy into this. They kind of take a wait and see. I joined, now let me see what happens. We can all think of people like that as well. Okay, so engagement is different. It's we want people to be involved in our group, enthusiastic, committed to our chapter and the people in the chapter. If you're running a small business, you want the same thing from your employees. We want people that are, especially if we're under 20 employees, right? Or especially under 12 employees. We want them to think creatively. We want them to work hard. We want them to be a part of what we have, right? So we act differently when we're engaged. We're 100% in a B&I chapter, 100% psychologically committed to our group, right? Know the scope of our roles. We know ways to achieve outcomes. We're more productive, more efficient. We're safer, right? Now, I don't know how you become safe in B&I. But if you're out as a small business person, like an HVAC company, you're looking at a construction company, definitely safety becomes an issue, right? So these are the three types of engagement. And we took these numbers off the 2020 stat. This is interesting. These are fairly new numbers within the last couple months, okay, from Gallup, because Gallup is constantly meta testing like employee engagement, right? At 36% engaged. So out of all the people employed, 36%, that describes them. 50% are not engaged, and then 14% are actively disengaged. The actively disengaged person, okay, you'll know who they are when you see them. Okay, in a B&I chapter, you would know who they are in the chapter. I'm going to leave it at that. I was an executive director. I've been in B&I, around the B&I world, since 1995. So I had about 22, 23 years before we sold our franchise. Okay. I have a lot of stories I could tell you. Due to brevity and time, and also to protect the innocent, I won't tell you any of these actively disengaged stories, right? But I can tell you this, 36% is pretty low, which most people would agree. It should be a lot higher. Guess what? It actually went up. It was 33% when I got my certification from Gallup on employee engagement. Okay. So the number has gone up, but there's been all kinds of weird things going on in the world. I think that's with people that are actually working. I'll just say it like that, right? So I don't know where somebody that's not working would fall into that. Okay. So three types of engagement. All right. So what Gallup does is they send out a survey. They send out a survey to determine engagement. Gallup Q12 is something that we have out there. Q12 is basically 12 questions to determine engagement. So the question would look like, and I'll share those questions in a minute, but 1 is totally disagree, 5 is totally agree, and then you have somewhere in between, just to give you a little context on where these statistics come from, right? You can see some of the statistics that they have right there. I mean, think about your B&I chapter. What if you could increase your productivity, your thank you for closed business? What if you can increase it 17% in the next year? Would that be good? Or what if we could add 17% net growth to the people that are actually in our group? That would be even better, wouldn't it? Right? So these are interesting numbers. Now think about your small business. If you own a small business and you're in B&I, what would happen if these numbers were applicable to your small business? And that's where this stuff becomes incredibly powerful. This is taken from another B&I region. I was the executive director for Central and Southern Missouri and Arkansas. Okay, and we had done this. We had borrowed this idea freely. They gave it to us from another region. I believe it was from the Nashville region. Okay, we did these for years. We took all the vice president statistics and we would crunch the numbers. And we give people real numbers. Have you ever heard B&I say if you double the size, you triple the referrals? And of course, we're in the show me state, right, in Missouri. So we're like, show me. Well, it's here. Look at it. Take a look at this. Now, how much does it cost to join a large chapter versus a small chapter? Same cost, right? But the return on investment is significantly different. So what causes any group that has 40, 50, 60 members and beyond? Guess what? At one time they had 12. At one time they had 18. At one time they had 20. It might have been when they were a core group, but I can tell you something. We've had some groups in our region. I was incredibly proud of it. Started with 14 people and we struggled for a long time, and then eventually got 40 people. What was the difference? What was the magic sauce? What was the secret goo that caused them to join and caused the group to grow and caused people to pass $2.2 million worth of business in a large group? I can tell you what it was. It was engagement. And so let's dig into it. Let's talk a little bit about engagement. I want you to think about something about your group, right? What would happen if we could transform our group environment? Okay. Our small business, what would happen if we could transform our small business? Think about what a thriving B&I chapter looks like. What, excited, engaged, you want to be there. We had a visitor host one time at one of our groups. She actually made homemade fudge and gave it to all the visitors. And so I made sure to go on the visitor list several times within the quarter. It was delicious. right? That's above and beyond stuff, right? That's what thriving look, when you got it and people are excited, visitors are excited. Man, it's just like, I wish I could describe it with better words, but you got it. You know what it looks like, and you know what it looks like when it's not like that. COVID's been tough on a lot of chapters. It was a tough year, right? So what can we do to bring back that thriving BNI chapter back? So what we have here is we have two things. We have leadership and management, okay? What you're going to see with Q12, if you take a look at these questions, take them back to your group, you're going to find that with Q12, it's a little bit of both. So think about the best leader you ever followed. I'm going to give it to Dennis real quick here. Dennis, Steve, do you know who this person is? This is my first mentor in BNI.
I have met this person as well, and she was my first mentor in BNI.
Yeah. So
Oh.
what kind of a leader was Patty?
I would say that Patty was someone who was totally invested in the success of her members, and I think her focus on getting chapters to a certain number, like a tipping point of success, was important to her. She was never one to say, if the chapter is so small that it's worth sticking around. And she wasn't about that. She was about making sure that we had big, heavy chapters with members who were engaging and doing well.
Yeah. Dennis, how would you describe Patty?
Very driven, very, she's really focused on employees and making sure that we were, delivering great value every time we went out and engaged with our chapters. She had a vision. She was really visionary, and she cared. She really did care.
Yeah, I caught that as well. She cared. I'm going to share something with you. If you're on this call and you're in a BNI chapter, you know who the Patty is in your chapter? It's probably you. You need to be the Patty. You like that? That's a pretty good thing. So go ahead and take over, Dennis.
All right. So Priscilla had actually mentioned this back in the comments, but this is Q12. And this is a really great book from a guy called Jim Harder, The Elements of Great Managing. And, if any of you read it, or, just put one or two of the takeaways in the comments of what you got from the Q12. But this is like, if you're looking at getting engaged and getting your employees engaged or your chapter members engaged, this is like a great reference. Okay, so now we're going to have some fun moving to the next couple of slides. So how do we measure engagement? It's really about people showing up, people caring, people being there, people being in the room. So as I said, we're going to have some fun here. You can see the instructions on the screen. We're going to give you 20 American seconds.
American seconds.
Usually we do this in person, but here we're going to just do it, on the screen, because obviously you don't want you getting your pen and drawing on your screen. We're going to give you 20 seconds to find the numbers in chronological order, starting with 1. And see how many you get in those 20 seconds. So we're going to start now and go. So basically find 1, then find 2. That's 10 seconds gone. 5 seconds to go. And stop there. All right, just type into the chat how many you got. Joe Poirier got to 1. A few of you got to 5, 6, 1.
There is a 2. There is a 2, by the way. There is a 2. I promise.
All right. Okay, Mike, if you could move the slides along a little.
Yeah. This is interesting. I'm watching all the slides come in and stuff. So tell us about this grid. What is this?
This grid represents having a system, right? So here's the deal, right? All of the numbers looked as though they were random, but they really weren't that random. The first number 1, was in grid 1. Number 2 was in grid number 2. 3 was in 3, and 4 was in 4. And then actually the 5th number was in 1, and it goes around cyclically. So when you know that, you don't need to be searching through all of the numbers there. What you need to do is just break it down into those systems. So Mike, could you move yeah.
And this is how the pattern works, and you continue it on. So yeah, let's try it again this time with the grid.
We'll give you another 20. We'll give you 20 British seconds this time, and see how many you can get knowing the system, knowing that, and go. That's 10 seconds gone. And And a couple more seconds and stop. All right, again, pop that into the chat bar and let's see.
Oh yeah, way more. Yeah, way more.
These numbers are at least double, if not triple. Yeah, it proves how easy it is. If you've got a framework, you got a system, and a couple of the commenters are saying, yeah, having a system, it makes it so much easier for you to focus and execute around engagement. All right. So here we're going to have like 12 questions. And again, Steve said he's going to send out the slides. So take some notes if you want, but we're going to get into some questions that really are going to measure engagement. The first one is key, crucial, and fundamental. Do I know what is expected of me? Do your employees know what is expected of them? If you have employees, do your chapter members know that? What are the basic expectations? A lot of times we assume these, but let's not assume. Secondly, do I have the materials and equipment that I need? This takes away from all of that guesswork that your employees or your members are going to have. Like, do your members have the things that they need to be successful within your chapter? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the framework? Do they have the new member kits? All of that great stuff. Third one, do I have the opportunity to do what I do best every day? Basically, this is like the know me question. This is, do I have the opportunity, when people are at their best, doing the thing that they're great with, working on their strengths, they're going to be much more engaged. Number 4 is a really interesting one. In the last 7 days, have I received recognition or praise? Okay, essential for your employees. But let's think about it through BNI. Like a lot of times, we talk about recognition, but I always say it's probably the most important core value, but it's the one that's always at the bottom. We kind of like once in a while we get to it. But is it like really personalized, and is it really meaningful? Do we show we care? Number 5. Does my supervisor or someone at work seem to care about me as a person? Like having friends and building relationships is key. And, you see that within your chapters. Is there someone at work who encourages my development? Within the BNI system, this is mentors. This is, having a system, talking about having that framework, having that system. New people coming on board, not being left out in the wilderness, but brought in as part of the group, and somebody who encourages their development, helps them grow. So having mentors is key. Do my opinions seem to count? Hear me. One of the things, one of the real sadnesses I see within BNI is like when we do surveys of like why do people leave, it's not necessarily that they're not getting business, it's that they don't think that anybody will miss them if they weren't there. And is that an engaged chapter if you have that sort of culture? Probably not. Does the mission or purpose of my company make me feel like my work is important? Again, let's translate that through BNI. Being mission driven and feeling part of what's going on is key and crucial. All right, Mike, let's head on to number 9. Are my co-workers committed to doing quality work? Help me feel proud. This is this is the teamwork piece. This is being part of an actively engaged team. A lot of times we look to our leadership team. Hey, the leadership team will take care of it. But really, like Mike hinted towards it early on, you're going to be like the Paddy of your chapter. You're going to be the one that can make the difference. So, are you committed to doing that quality work, showing up with a quality presentation each and every time? Do you have a best friend at work? Help me develop a mutual trust. Engaged employees that stick around have friends that are at work, and you build friendships within your chapters. Newer members, obviously they don't have that, but over time friendships build.
And let me interject something, Dennis. This is interesting because when Gallup did this survey, you notice it doesn't say acquaintance or somebody I know or just some random person I'm friendly to when I see them. You notice it said best friend. Best friend. They did that on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah, they did that one on purpose.
That is crucial. In the last months, have I talked with somebody about my progress? This is what the membership committee does in a truly thriving, engaged chapter. We talk about 90-day reviews, 7-month reviews, but really just checking in to see how folks are doing. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like so formal as the membership committee, but just asking a newer member or asking somebody that maybe looks like they're not having a great day, just checking in with them. And finally, having the opportunities to learn and go, absolutely key. This is part of human development, and somebody that's engaged is really going to want to grow and have that growth mindset. both personally and professionally. And as we know, BNI is amazing for that.
And those are great questions. And so I'm hoping that people that are on this call that are small business owners, this is very applicable to the people you have working for you. You know, how are we showing when it comes to these things? Dennis, did you want to say anything else about Q12?
I think, those Q12, we're going to send out those slides, but they're definitely things to be thinking about. If you do have employees, or, if you're looking at this from like being a leader within your BNI chapter, it can be something that, going to be, somebody mentioned, like you mentioned that term goo, Mike. This is the goo that really keeps us together. Questions are key, building that engagement and keeping that in mind. All right, back to you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. This is the goo. This, by the way, is a group we have. If there's anybody from Poplar Bluff, Missouri on the call, this is our Poplar Bluff, Missouri chapter. It was great because they had such great, incredible engagement. And, this group didn't exactly start off, had kind of a rough beginning. And it was a real honor to be able to come and award them silver status over 30 members within a year and a half of their kickoff. I mean, they struggled for about a year at about 14, 15 people, and then they doubled the size of their group, and it was powerful. And they're still a really fantastic group right down there in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. You should visit them sometime. So I want to talk a little bit about those 12 questions. This is really like, these are the 12, this is what it looks like if you put it into like the summit is total engagement, okay? Engagement is something that companies are constantly working on. You really want to work on the first 6, your base camp and your management support. What'll happen is as you start to get through your first 6 questions, the next 6 questions have a tendency to kind of evolve as you're going along. You can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere though if you don't have the first 6 done. So I wanted to break a couple things. First thing is, do I know what's expected of me? So as a company, a lot of companies do onboarding and then they say, hope you make it. I've seen BNI chapters do that. Well, we got your thing and hope you make it. And so it's an ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing conversation. I'm going to show you a system in just a minute that would totally change your chapter if you don't have a good system built for this. Okay, so knowing exactly what's expected. I think the survey says like maybe 32% of Americans, round numbers here, can strongly agree that they know what's expected of them at work. I bet it's lower now with everybody working at home and doing all that stuff that we had with COVID, right? So the second one is, do I have the materials and equipment that I need? So as a BNI chapter, what are we doing to help them to have exactly what they need? Like I'll give you an example, like in a corporate world or in a small business, like if you had really high security on your internet and you had somebody that's supposed to do, I was talking to somebody at Gallup, and they had a situation where they had to do the Facebook and the social media and the YouTube. The problem was he was constantly getting locked out of the security on the company. So he was not getting the materials and equipment that he needs, or if you have employees that are having to buy their own stuff to do things because they can't get the stuff they need from the channels that we have to get things. It'd be the same in a BNI chapter. If we can't get response, if we can't get, we have a new member join and 2 months later, they still haven't gotten a new member packet, those kind of things. Those are things worth exploring. They need those things, right? The third one, do I have the opportunity to do what I do best? I will tell you something, that's me. I kept a little picture, that's me right there. And I still feel that machine every morning when I wake up. I still feel it. I was on that for a long time. I was so proud of that. Thing. I had to have that picture taken to send home to Mom. I was overseas at the time. And what I was so proud about that dirty, nasty machine was I was really good at it. And I was able to do what I did best every day. So I didn't mind working from 6 in the morning till 6 at night for, all the time. So that it brought a lot of pride. In our BNI chapter, what are people best at? Are we asking new members especially, like, what do you like to do best? And the last 7 days, have I received recognition or praise? This is a great book, by the way. So everybody likes recognition differently. Like I had one time we put my wife, our co-executive director, on the stage, and we gave her like flowers and stuff, right? And everybody gave her a standing ovation. It was a very kind thing. I'll be real about it though. She hated it. And I got in a lot of trouble for that because I didn't bother to ask her 2 simple questions. Number 1, what's the best recognition you've ever received? That's a great question to write down. What's the best recognition you ever received? And the second thing is, who gave it to you. Some people don't want to be recognized by corporate. They want to be recognized by the people in their group. Some people do want to be recognized like that. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out where people are at. Does my supervisor or someone at work seem to care about me as a person? So in a BNI chapter, does the president or someone in the chapter seem to care about me as a person? You know, think about all the ways that we can show we actually care about somebody as a human being. They're not just a number, right? That's what built this organization. That's how BNI grew to where it grew, is because people cared about other people and tried to help them with their business. And it's changed so many people's lives because of that. We don't ever want to lose focus of that as an organization. We should care about people as people. We're not numbers, right? Number 6, is there someone in the chapter who encourages my development? So in your small business, is there someone in my small business who encourages my development? Sometimes smaller businesses are afraid to develop people fully because they're afraid they'll go out and start a company, a competing company, and that could happen. But I'm going to say something about that. I'm going to say, if you think that developing somebody and having them leave is a problem, try not developing them and having them stay around. It's worse, right? So develop your people, right? So you remember this thing? I think everybody remembers this thing, right? So we had a grid, a system, right? So we've got a couple systems for you. This is a good time to get your phone out and take a shot of this. It's going to take you to a page. We're going to take some information from you. Full disclosure, what we do with the information, we may zip you an email. What'll happen is if you're a small business owner, you'll get a copy of this business audit. We'll have your information. We'll invite you to, we'll also give you the PDF notes on the slides. So we'll just send those to you. We'll take them off the list that we get from this. Okay. So all you got to do is just fill it out. It's got your name and company and phone number and stuff. We're not going to do anything weird with it. I don't like receiving like millions and billions of emails. And I don't really have like any of that stuff I really send out to people, just so you know, because I'm really against, I don't like a lot of emails. But what I will do is Dennis and I will reach out to you, and we'll invite you to an audit unpack. So this is a business audit. It looks a lot. It's like a roadmap for your small business. And I don't think you can see it because of my background, but it's got all the different things like to see where you're at: sales, leadership, planning, strategic marketing, process systemizing, winning teams, finance, marketing, communications, all the things it takes to be a successful small business. And you can fill it out and kind of see where you're at and make a grid out of it. What we're going to do is we're going to put together a small business owner unpack on Zoom. We also have a live event in Boston and a live event in Springfield, Missouri. And if you're close to that, we may invite you to that. So, but whatever you do, we'll send you the PDF. I'll take these slides, turn them into a PDF. You'll want this PDF because we're going to give you something that you can take back to your chapter and use. Okay. And plus you'll get the business audit. So even if it's not good for you, it may be good for a business owner that you know, and you can pass it along to them. So we would love that. So all you have to do is
jump in here. Yeah, we've got a couple of people saying, hey, they're already on their phones, and unless they've got a mirror or something, they can't use the QR code. So I posted the link as well into the chat there.
Okay.
But if you
tested it and it worked, but it might not work for your phone. So there's a link that Dennis has in the comments, and if you just click on it, it'll help you to do that. Okay.
Yep.
So
Just for those who haven't done much QR code using, you're not actually taking a photo of the image. You're just holding it up until a link pops up on your phone.
Thank you for that. It took me a while to figure it out, just so you know. So we joke around. Anytime it says hashtag, we say pound symbol, you know. Hey, I still print out my boarding passes. All right.
You're a throwback, Mike.
I'm a throwback. So yeah. So if it doesn't work on your phone, if you just go into the comments, you can. Dennis has a hyperlink that you can just jump on it. Okay, so we'll send it to you. Okay, so that's the best way to get information from us. We'll send it to you. We promise we won't send you a bunch of stuff. Okay, we won't be spamming you every month. We're not really into that. So, and I've got a lot of other things to do other than that. So, and I bet you do too. So, but we do have a date down there. It's going to be in 2 weeks, and we're going to help you to unpack that. Okay, so if you're a business owner and you want to meet some other business owners and see what other business owners are doing, we'll have kind of a virtual mastermind to talk a little bit about that and talk about developing our business for the next year. So this is a good time to do that. So okay, this is the other magical thing I wanted to share with you. Now this is for your BNI chapter, and this is pretty cool because this is, remember that grid? this is a grid for your BNI chapter. And so that's why you want to get these slides, because you may be able to take this back and look at it. Here's what we've seen. Okay. The 3 reasons why groups don't grow. If I wanted to do like a teaser, like a really controversial teaser headline, Steve, you'll like that. So I'll say 3 reasons why your chapter's not growing anymore and what to do about it. Okay. I would tell you probably the 3 reasons is we're not bringing in enough visitors. Okay. COVID really hurt with that. And so did Zoom. Okay. I've got a strong personal opinion about face-to-face. I think it's necessary. That's my opinion. Okay. If you can make it work with Zoom or you have to make it work with Zoom, you got to do what you got to do. I get it. Okay. But the reason why we're not getting enough visitors true visitors can actually join our group. So IASM sometimes is the problem. You know what IASM is? IASM means I am sold myself. Okay. It's hard to invite people to something that you don't quite believe in yourself. Okay. That's the biggest jam we got with that. So we're not getting enough, or we're getting people that show up, but they're not really people that could actually join our group. So we're not actually doing the work to build our list, right? The second reason is we're not doing a good job when they show up to make them feel welcome, or we're not doing a good job following up with them. Okay. So, and I'm sorry, an automated email doesn't count as follow-up. Okay. If you want to separate your group from everybody else, when visitors come, having that advanced visitor host program built and making people feel welcome and reaching out for people for coffee and calling people on the phone, bare minimum, a text, a Facebook, trying to connect with them that way and develop. People want to know that they're included, that people want them to join. Chapters sometimes don't ask people to join their group. That's the craziest thing in the world. They think, well, if you don't ask me to join your group, I'm going to think you're not interested. I'll be real about it. I bet a lot of people think that same way, right? So that's the second reason. And the third thing is sometimes we do a good job at that. And then we're kind of like, hope you make it. We did all this stuff to make you, you join now? We'll go in the corner with all the rest of the members, right? So it's an ongoing journey. So this journey map, if you'll take this back, I don't have like a million years to talk about it, but it's all about developing systems on each one of these touch points. You could put are we red light, are we yellow light, or are we green light, right? Various phone calls, emails. Does a person get 3 phone calls or 3 emails, phone calls, like after they visit your group? I don't think they do. I'll tell you why, because I've been visiting networking groups around St. Louis, BNI and other groups. None of them do it. None of them do it. I got 1 automated email. I thought it was spam. It was like just some automated email because I guess I was registered as a visitor, right? So
yeah, this is, a couple of things you've hit on here, Mike. Like the number one reason people don't apply to be in a BNI chapter is nobody asked them. There's this assumption that they'll know what to do and they'll take that action. So, this is key and crucial for your visitor hosts to be asking, say, hey, you've had a great experience at this meeting. Would it be something that you want to be part of? And then explaining that process. And then the follow-up is key and crucial. There's this saying in business, like fortune is in the follow-up, and never so true as in with BNI. Because a lot of times the visitors get excited for what they see. They have a wonderful experience. And then all of a sudden it goes radio silent. And they think, maybe they didn't want me as much as, that they claimed to at the time.
People want to feel like people care about their business. You do too, right? So what are we doing to show that we care? If we don't have a system in place, what's happening is we have an inconsistent experience. This is total Michael Gerber E-Myth stuff. Okay, so anyway, that's what we're talking about is helping people actually care about the business, right? So the orientation, you have a mentor program, I'm thinking about this whole mentor program. Do we give a new member something to do in the chapter, when they join, so they can feel like they're a part of our crew? Is somebody calling them and talking to them 90 days and 180 days out? Hey, is it working? Is this working for their business? All those kind of things. So yeah, there are some advantages online too. So somebody put a comment on there, and I don't know if it's really a limiting belief. It could be. I'm pretty open to critique, I guess, but I think people need people. I think people need people, and they want to. If you can do it using Zoom, do it. This system will work either way. The system will actually work either way. So that's what we wanted to share with you guys today. So a couple steps to move towards better engagement. And a few things that you can do to do that is, if you're a BNI chapter, is develop a map for your chapter. We'll send you those. Talk to other BNI leaders in successful chapters. So if somebody's really growing, figure out, you know, what they're doing to grow, right? And build that roadmap for your chapter, so you can have something that's really consistent. It gives a lot of people in the chapter cool things to do, and it helps to really build the team that way. So if you're a small business owner, you know, complete the small business audit, you know, so you can find gaps. You can find gaps in your business. These are great books, by the way, to read on that. So you could attend our peer-to-peer event, so you can meet other business owners. In Springfield, we've got some fairly large companies, and we got some smaller companies, and we kind of get together to help each other, you know, grow our business. You know, not necessarily referrals. We don't do referral stuff. Matter of fact, we kind of discourage it in these groups. We're not here for that. We're here to share business acumen and to help each other, you know, grow as a group, and surround your business with the right people. You know, be around whether it's BNI or whether it's your small businesses, is being around the right people. We do have one person. The biggest problem we have in our groups or our businesses is they're having a really hard time finding employees. I've got one guy in there that actually people are finding him, and so he's doing some things a little different. A roadmap, engagement, those kind of things actually can separate you from the other people that are out there to actually, you know, bring people in. Not all industries. I mean, there's a lot of challenges right now with business, and this is probably one of the biggest challenges. Second biggest challenge, which is really close, is cost of goods sold have gone up so high that people are having to raise their prices basically, but they don't know how to go about doing that. So, you know, so anyway, that's a little bit about that. So that's the link for the business audit. If you'd like to jump on it, final link on that. So if you haven't done, I think everybody's kind of done that. And these are our links here. And I think we're done in time to kind of open it up for like questions and comments and things like that. So Steve, you want to take over?
As soon as I unmute myself, yes, there we go. All right, thanks guys. So we are jumping into Q&A right now. David says, do you recommend non-renewal of poorly performing members after providing guidance, additional training, special one-to-one attention, etc., and there continues to be poor performance? I think any business owner would do this with an employee.
I'll jump in on this one and say, yes, you know, it sounds like you've taken all the steps. So, you know, you want to set them up with a plan for success, but have agreed goals and work around that. But there does come a point where, you know, if you know, they've been given the one-to-one mentoring, they've been given all of the help, they've been set targets, and those targets have been agreed upon for whatever reason, whether they're referral targets, one-to-one targets, attendance targets, they don't hit that, I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, you know, invite them to succeed somewhere else other than your chapter.
Okay. Let's see, Stephen asks, I Googled your QR code, got the website. Is that all I need to do?
Yeah, just put your information in there and it should automatically send you the business audit. And we'll reach out to you and let you know other things that we might have going on if you're a small business owner, if you want to connect some more. And we'll send you the slides as well. We'll convert these to a PDF. So anybody that does that, we'll send you another email with the PDF so you can take these slides and use them.
Got it. Okay. Let's see. No Member Left Behind. Is that a podcast? Asks Celestine.
Hey, it should be, shouldn't it?
I don't know if it was or wasn't. That was a very popular presentation a while back.
Yeah, you know, we actually, what you saw in that thing that was our theme. We used to take our region and we used to theme it every year. So our entire regional theme was No Member Left Behind. And so that, I think it's when maybe like Passport to Success first came out. And so we incorporated that and we designed kind of like a little logo. We did a lot of stuff with the traffic lights when they first came out. So we had like I think we had that with the traffic lights, and it was an interesting light because all three of them were green. The design had everybody in green. So that was the goal. So
nice. All right. Andy asks, he wants to share the presentation. Will it be uploaded to BNI Business Builder soon? Yes, is the answer. That will go up on Monday, but we will quickly, end of the day today, put it on our BNI Team USA YouTube channel. That's where we get most of our hits. So we're going to put that one up there first. Do we have to sign up on the site to get the slides? No, I will email that out to everyone who attended today.
John Carlton's got a question. I'd love to hear your answer on this one, Mike. At what point do you play hardball with a group that says they are engaged, but they don't follow that with their actions?
What's hardball mean?
I think it's getting a little serious and letting them know that maybe the actions that they're taking don't reflect the words that they are sharing.
Yeah, well, I will tell you our philosophy, because when we took over, I actually took over a really broken franchise. When we took over Arkansas, it was like last, performance wise, it was last, and unfortunately, the way the culture was at the top, it was kind of like the guy would go into chapters and you'd find what was going wrong, and kind of point that out and kind of rub their nose in it. And that's kind of what it looked like. So our culture was always a little different. We always wanted to go into chapters to find what was working best. And so what we would do is we'd find what's working best. Okay. So that's the first thing. So one of the things that we would talk with our team, and this could work in your group, is first off is find what's working best, because, even a chapter that maybe is struggling, or maybe, maybe isn't performing that well, or maybe maybe they don't have the biggest size, they're not, maybe 16 people or 15 or 12 or whatever. I had a chapter down in Arkansas, like 8 people in it. And I showed up and they said, I guess you're getting ready to close us. And I said, well, I do you want to close? They go, well, no. I said, well, let's find what we do best and let's start working on that. So anytime we would meet with the leadership, it was kind of like, what are you doing best? Right. We talk about that. We'd actually write it down and we'd share it with everybody next to it. Like if we had a director or myself in a group, if I'm taking any notes, I'd share it with everybody around me, because all I'm doing is writing down what works best. If something's not working well, usually people knew it wasn't working well. And if we have a good relationship, right, they know it's not working. So it's basically what's working best. The second thing would be, how are we doing for you? So what we would do is we'd actually ask them, like, how are we doing, like, as a BNI region? How are we doing for you? Are you getting what you need? Like, I found out we weren't getting new member packets to the members in time, based on feedback, right? I don't even know if they would have shared that with me if we wouldn't have had that attitude. So how are we doing for you? What can we do what do you need to be successful? Do you need an advanced training? What do you need? So, and then the third thing was, if I would ask them, if you could change anything, right? If I could take a magic wand and take this really incredible meeting and make it really excellent, what would you do? What would you change or turn around? 9 times out of 10, whatever I would have pointed out that was maybe not working too well, right, would usually surface. And then we discussed that. Like, we had a person that was standing up and doing a sales manager moment, and he sat back down, he jumped back up, and he did somebody else's sales manager moment because he was their substitute. It's like, well, wait a second, you're the member. He was the member of the group, and then he became the substitute, and that's not part of the thing. So, well, I remember that, and I remember sharing that, and that came out with, this is down in Southern Missouri at one time, and I had a really good relationship. That's what it's about. It's about having a good, people in the group have to know that the people working with them care about them, first off. And you show you care by being there. You show you care by giving them the things that they need. If you're working as like a director, you show you care by being present, in the moment. And it actually came out in conversation. And it was interesting because the challenge wasn't that she knew it wasn't working. The challenge was she didn't quite know how to present it, right, without coming across as like an ogre. So I said, well, why don't we have the educational coordinator, work on it, and you could add it to the announcements and have a couple other people, and it worked really well. Long story short, though, I didn't sit there and, point out what was wrong. I didn't like to do that a lot. I still don't like to do that a lot, because I think it's a volunteer organization and people are doing the best they can do.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because Andrea's question goes back to an earlier question, which was, how do you define a chapter that's poorly performing? Can engagement be high, but dollars low? Or are we just focused on money?
I'm going to answer this one. You can answer it either as a member or a chapter, right? But yes, you can have like high engagement and, low dollar value. So, really it's 2 things that come to mind, right? Skill set and mindset. If you have a positive mindset and, they're really doing the activities that are in the Power of One report, and you're still not generating those dollars, it's probably then a skill set thing. But you definitely want to get the mindset in place first, to have that positive attitude, to be engaged. And if you're still not getting those those dollars, then it probably becomes a skill set thing. And I would talk to your chapter success coach and work with them on ways in which, people that are highly engaged and really positive can then turn that round into being like, thank you for closed business, both for themselves and for their fellow chapter members. Francis, where can I sign up? I will put that in the chat bar one more time. It's a link, and it's called our business audit.
It could be too, there may be some people missing, like referral partners that we need to have in the group, because it's a pretty broad question, and it just might be people in the key situations, or the power teams or contact spheres, however you want to view it, may be missing. And it just may be about figuring that part out to find that referral partner and do that. That's why, like, if a new member joins, part of that system, if you can help them to identify, especially if you're in a chapter under like 40 members, if you can help a new member identify who they need to have, let's say it's a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker, right? And you have them identify 5 professions in each one of those. Why don't you have them send out, with their first keynote, once they've been through some of the trainings and stuff, have them send out an invitation letter to their first keynote presentation for these fields, so you have overlaps and you have people there that could actually be a referral partner. What'll probably happen is your chapter will probably add 1 to 2 new members every time you add a new member. So we don't have to really do like a lot of open houses if we do those kind of events, because the chapter's naturally growing that way, through organically, kind of through power teams.
Okay. All right. How do you get a chapter engaged with inviting visitors? We have education moments, we explain expectations, we announce target categories, we've had visitors days, and we just can't get everyone on board with inviting.
You want me to tackle this one, Dennis?
I'll start it off and just say, okay, my 2 observations. The 2 reasons that people don't invite: one is that they don't like to hear the word no, and they get very discouraged. So they ask one person, the person says no. Next person, the person says no. Third person says no. All right, this doesn't work. And people just don't like being told no. And they go into, you need sometimes to ask, to get 8 no's till you get to your yes. But if you only ask 3 people and stop there, that can be challenging. So just keep on working with it, and maybe do an education piece around it's okay to hear no, and maybe answering some objections, be a way around that. The second one, though, is probably more crucial, in that people aren't going to invite people to their chapter. Members aren't going to invite members to their chapter if they're not having success themselves. And if they're not having success themselves, it's very, very difficult for them to bring somebody. It's like having a really messy house and inviting people over to come to the house. They just don't want them to come there. So why would they bring people in, particularly their closest clients, friends, colleagues, suppliers, people that they know in the business community, to a place where they're not having success themselves? So that may be the first conversation to have, and I'll hand that over to you, Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna go macro now. Those are some great micro points. I mean, yeah, the I am sold myself. That's really important. We used to do a lot of games. We used to make it fun. We had a thing across our region called March Madness, and it was so much fun. And I'm not sure if they still do March Madness. I've been out of that world for about 3 years now, but we used to have we had all the chapters, and we had like a basketball theme, and so our chapters would like have a contest within their chapter that they'd have one person, they'd have points for new members, for visitors, and they would have a lot of fun. We'll have 8 weeks, and we'll have visitors coming through all the time. One of the groups in Lake of the Ozarks actually had like sports jerseys that they used to do, and they had different little themed, the sales manager moments would have different themes each week, and it was just a ton of fun. It was fun, and it was kind of wacky. We had a trophy that we used to have that the person would have at their visitor host table, and we had a chapter in Springfield that actually took the trophy from the group somehow, and they had pictures of it taken across Springfield, and like it was a hostage. They took the trophy hostage. And they had pictures of it, say, oh, and here's your trophy at wherever, Big Whiskeys, and they would do stuff like that, and it was a little corny and wacky sometimes, but our goal is to make sure everybody kept it proper and didn't get too out of hand, but we had a lot of fun with it, and the fun part made people naturally want to say, I could bring people, and then they started to bring people, and once you start to bring a lot of visitors into a group, it almost becomes like addictive. Like everybody else wants to bring visitors, and people start to realize that visitors, even if they don't join, could actually spend money with people in the group. And then so they want to do that. And so people get excited about it. But you have to have some, we used to use it, that game was kind of like a primer. You know, it's not gonna build, it primes it. And once you get that going and you got good leadership and culture and people having fun, it just became a natural part of it. And we used to do recognition with that, with the people in the group. And we used to also have something called an all-star. Every year somebody would pick an all-star, and then we would give them a really nice, we'd have an event in each one of our areas that everybody would skip their meeting that week and come to this event. We had 1,600 members in our franchise, and we would get about 12 to 1,300 attend. So we had about 90% attendance, 90 to 95% attendance every year. And we'd have them up on a stage, and we would have them give them the all-star, and it really made them feel great. And we'd have March Madness stuff, and we were just building all kinds of different momentum that way. That's a macro answer. You know, it's something you could do with other chapters and things like that. Your answer though, Dennis, is perfect on a micro and individual basis.
All right. By the way, I like Linnea's comment here. She says, try to invite to a person, not to a meeting. So are you available Tuesday morning to meet Michael, our auto mechanic? He's looking to meet an auto repair shop owner. Much easier. Very well done.
That's
Very
great,
well.
Renee. I love that.
That's a great answer.
All right. Lisa asks, what is a sales manager moment? May I just jump in and say, throwback guy over here. This was something that we said a few years ago.
The B&I
Now
history
we
segment
simply
brought
call it
to you
our
by Steve
weekly
Canuzzo.
presentation. Yeah.
Oh, is it called something different now?
It's called weekly presentation. Yeah.
Weekly presentation. Okay.
Very simple. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Anna asked about the new member packet, which we're not using at the moment. Right now, when you're a new member, you'll get an email to order a name badge, and you can also replace your own name badge on your regional website. Just go to membership and leadership team resources, and you'll be able to do it there. And your passport to success is online on B&I Business Builder.
So
All right.
add that with pound symbol, and I look old now.
Yep. But some content is evergreen, and that's why this was such a great presentation. I think that is going to do it for today. I think we're out of questions. So Mike, Dennis, thanks so much for being on today.
Thanks everybody for on. I appreciate the comments and everything. And
thanks for the engagement, everyone.
Yeah.
It's just some great questions, some great comments, and hopefully there was value there. Feel free to join us on our webinar. Do that business audit, and we'll send you an invite to that, and we'll look to talk to you more. So thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Steve.
Yeah, no, really appreciate having you guys on today, and we will see everyone next week. Don't forget to give yourselves a CEU.